Broadcasting live from the mixed-up world of Hyrule and Zebes. This is the Link to the Past Super Metroid Combo Randomizer Tournament. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Bobtastic, and joining me today on commentary is Maximum Barnage. How you doing, Maximum Barnage?
I am doing great this morning. I couldn't ask for anything better than Combo Randomizer. Though I do hope they randomize some caffeine into this one.
Yeah, I think that's somewhere over by Ridley.
Yeah. Hot coffee down in Lower Norfair. I'm good for that. But we're off a little bit late. Just having a little hiccup with the commentary restream. Should be resolved in a little bit. But the runners are off to the races. We have Cynas going down to Blue Brinstar to check the 2 items, but it didn't seem like he was rewarded for it much.
Yeah, I think he basically did a complete reset and just headed straight for Link to the Past here. Lenophis also in Link to the Past finds just a piece of heart over here in the woods, and of course the tree pull for Cynas pulling out 80 rupees. And don't look now, but I think something's in the thieves' hideout in the Lost Woods.
Oh, really?
Yep. Don't know if it's caught up yet, but
not quite. I'm sure I'll get there. But I mean, as far as Leno's early route, he's got money and bombs. That's pretty much all you can ask for heading into CAC. So 300 in the Sanctuary leaves him in a really good starting position. Well, Cynas, taking a slightly different opener.
So yeah, turns out we got ourselves a morph ball in that location in the Lost Woods.
That's fantastic. I mean, that really opens up Super Metroid right away as soon as they get some type of bombs. We saw some bombs at Lumberjack, but I don't know if we've got any regular power bombs yet.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna find some soon. Looks like the uncle had our bug net today. And we did find a few power bombs in Blind's hut, so that's going to give us some, basically what we need to get into Super Metroid.
So if you're Leno and you have Varia and power bombs and Morph Ball, how long do you wait before going into Super Metroid? I'm tempted to just go right away.
Well, I mean, not until I get supers.
Yeah, that's a big draw. I mean, you're locked out of quite a few locations by not having supers. But yeah, getting those early power bombs and having access to most of the game is a big deal.
This is really confusing to try to do with the certain streams here, but there's some other important things coming up. I'm gonna shut up. All right. All right, so we did get more power bombs there in Kakariko Well. Also a sword available there on Kakariko Well for Lenophis.
Yeah, the seed being very, very generous with the early items. Super Metroid being opened up and then also having a weapon in Link to the Past this early is just great.
And we do see that the Moon Pearl is here in the chicken hut. So Moon Pearl for Lenophis there on the chicken hut. Both round items that grant you access to everything are available.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty crazy start. I mean, those are the items you want to look for early, but also, like, it opens up so much of the game that, it's kind of scary. If I'm one of the runners, I'm like, the rest of the items could be like literally anywhere at this point. So it's kind of terrifying, but good at the same time because you're not looking for those really helpful spheres.
All right, so we at least see some super missiles there on the library, but we don't have them yet. For all we know, there could have been some super missiles earlier. That's a bow. In on the race game.
Oh well, with a bow, have we gotten a map check yet? I don't think we have.
Not to my knowledge. It does look like our commentary restream is back up and ready to go. So,
yeah, I think we got our technical issues resolved, which is great. But if Eastern's a crystal and I have the bow, especially with the lamp, I'm tempted to just go clear it. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. The bow granting you access to that this early, pretty good thing. 3 items over there, and of course there's Sahasrah's closet and a bunch of other things, which you'll probably want to check eventually. I'd be tempted to go ahead and clear it even if it wasn't a crystal.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, especially with the, pendant dungeons are pretty awful generally in this combo randomizer because there's just, compared to the hundreds of other item locations, there's just such a low chance of there being something there. But especially with that early lamp kind of pointing me in that direction, I'm really tempted to just go do Eastern right now. Though we see Leno going to South Shore, and it seems like Cynas finishing up Kakariko might be following suit. But we'll have to see.
All right, so mini Moldorm Cave for Lenophis. Let's see what we get. Piece of heart, an energy tank, 50 rupees, a pack of missiles, and a big 20. So, I mean, basically the most exciting thing in there for me is the energy tank.
Yeah, with all these progression items, sometimes you forget that you need at least a couple hearts and energy tanks in order to get around. Leno already up to 500. Might think about doing a fake flipper here.
Yep, just got right up above that 500. Sitting on a cool 2 to the 9th power.
Oh, Dr. Bob, it's too early for that for me.
And he had to ruin it by picking up a 5 rupees. What are you going to do? All right, Ice Rod Cave. Just missiles as well. And it does look like Lenophis will be heading outside. So that looks like that fake flipper might be happening.
Yeah, I like this call, honestly. If you if you get progression here, you may like see yourself at an advantage, like maybe your opponent didn't do the tree pull or something. And with the Moon Pearl especially, you get the items from the Waterfall of Wishing. So I like this play quite a bit, honestly.
Yeah, it's a pretty good call. And Lenophis is setting up using the bush strat in the previous room, or in the west screen. I don't know why I said previous room. Those are not the same thing.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I knew what you meant. But yeah, I mean, especially here with our context, I mean, I guess Cynas is going to be picking up some extra money in Mini Moldorm Cave, but right now he doesn't have the 500. Is there a 100 in there?
Well, there's 50 and 20.
Oh, that's really close. So if he doesn't get 500 and Leno finds something here, this could be big for him.
All right, power bombs on the Zora ledge, not something you will even be able to get at the moment, but not something that's immediately necessary either. So Cynas sitting on 489. And an energy tank, which, I mean, I'm not going to turn it down.
Yeah, if I only have one energy tank, I'm willing to pay 500 for an energy tank. I'll get the rest of my money later.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm basically taking any energy tank you give me.
All right, so Leno is headed to the castle. I bet we'll see him go inside, though I'm kind of surprised at this point you're not really considering diving Super Metroid. You've got over 30 items that you can do in that whole Brinstar loop with your power bombs. You might want to try and find a second pack, because 10 power bombs is makes the routing a lot cleaner than 5. But
I think we're on 3 packs now. Actually.
Oh, we do have that many power bombs. Okay, with the technical difficulties, I missed some. So
yeah, there was one in Blind's Hut. There was one in the well, and then wasn't there one in the water or something?
There was one on the Zora ledge that they couldn't get, and there was also one on Lumberjack that they couldn't get. But
they do have 10.
Yeah, 10's pretty good. 15 is kind of ideal, and beyond that, they're just kind of icing on the cake, really.
Yeah, with 10, you might have to backtrack to the Firefly room or whatever.
Yeah, Big Pink can still present a bottleneck on power bombs with just 10, but if you're smart with them, if you do some refills, you should be okay. All right, so we're going to get to see some new locations from Leno here in the castle. Right, so I kind of came in a little late to this. What are the records of these runners? Are they in the 1-0 or the 0-1 bracket?
I believe they're both 0-1 at the moment. With one of them having lost to Ose and the other one having lost to Janice Zeal.
Yeah, I mean those are some very good runners. So I mean, these guys are definitely competitive, and just playing in this tournament at all is a big challenge. I mean, the end of the last one I commentated, I talked about how difficult it is to even complete one of these seeds.
Oh yeah, we've had a little bit of conversation here in chat about how well things were done. Brand new runners to this getting just under 6-hour times, and that's actually really good considering I think my first run on this was something like 7.5.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's just so much to know about both games. Minor glitches and movement tech and Super Metroid's important. You have to know all of the routing and Link to the Past and all of the item requirements. And then you have all of the unique things about the combo randomizer as we get our map check. And I saw red at Eastern and then green at Desert, with Hera being a normal crystal. Did I get that right?
That looked pretty correct to me. You know what I saw over in Sahasrala's closet?
What?
Grapple beam.
Oh, man. That only hard locks one location, but oh, what a location it is.
and of course, in the normal logic, that's going to put the wrecked ship area in logic now.
Well, I'm a big fan of the early wreck ship play, honestly. You even just going over there with not a whole lot of items, you already have the protection of the various suit against the flames from Phantoon, which makes that fight a bit easier. And you're only leaving behind one potential item in the speed booster lock location at the end that you can still get to see. So it kind of gives you a nice little loop around Super Metroid, as we see both runners in Eastern Palace at the same time, both of them taking the hint of the bow and lamp to head over here.
Yep, could very well be a thing. Now, part of me is like, the lamp isn't hinting at Eastern, it's hinting at going to rescue the old man by going through Upper Norfair.
That's entirely possible. And also, we didn't see any of the runners check Dark Cross, did they?
Not that I know of.
That's kind of unusual. I mean, I guess Cynas wasn't in there, but Leno was there with the lamp. He could have taken a death warp. And that could be something crazy like a key back there leading to Power Gloves in the back of Escape. So that's kind of dangerous in my mind.
All right, so the map in what is usually, I believe, the compass chest. I wonder if either of our runners will accidentally read that telepathy tile, because I'll do that occasionally.
I always read the telepathy tiles now. It took me so long to remember to read them in the first place for the new logic. I'm just reading them every time. It doesn't matter what I'm playing. Hey, some of them are kind of funny. It keeps you going during a hard seed.
Well, there you go.
I think one of the pod one says something about like messaging VDorp if you find it or something like that. I don't know. I hope they check that one. All right, so Eastern kind of a bust so far. It'd be pretty disappointing, to come here as a pendant dungeon and have this be nothing. But I think it's a good move, regardless of how it turns out.
So Cynas here is doing the vanilla strats here, or the intended strats, to sort of disperse the anti-fairies and make this switch accessible. Piece of heart in the chest, so nothing to write home about.
Now we're having a discussion in chat about all the hidden messages in Link to the Past Randomizer, some of which I've never heard of. I think my favorite is the telepathy towel in the Houlihan room that just tells you the previous winners. I think that's a pretty neat addition.
Yeah.
Ooh, Cynas getting a little low on hearts. He's gonna be careful here.
There's the one at the bottom of Hera says something like, "There's a guy at the top of this tower who is a jerk and will make you fall." A lot.
It's so true, though. I can relate to that telepathy tile.
All right, so Cynas has made it to the Armos Knights. You need a total of 18 arrows to take these guys down, and that's if you land every shot on something that can die. And just a missile pack, so yeah, looks like Eastern is just jebaited the dungeon.
I mean, that was always a possibility, but you know, with the bow, it's so tempting to come here.
And Lenophis gets that quick kill there.
Yeah, you can see exactly how much time that makes up. It was very well done. I'm gonna step out for just 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right, so Cynas now making the play for Super Metroid here. We don't have any super missiles at the moment, and it looks like Cynas is going to go for the early gauntlet play here. This is some technical wall jumping, and it looks like he's trying to jump a little high here. Oh, there we go. All right, Lenophis going for the final missiles. And look what it is. All right, so Cynas heading through the gauntlet. We'll get to see what's at the other end of this. We'll see if Lenophis elects to check the shaft. No, not heading that direction. We're heading to the lower, to the blue Brinstar section. More missiles down there, and we did get super missiles in the gauntlet. So that is the one pack of super missiles we have found for this entire run. And this early gauntlet play is outside of logic right now for the normal logic, and that is a flippers over there at the end of the gauntlet, and a hook shot in blue Brinstar. So flippers and hookshot. It's like the Swamp Palace Brigade over here. And Lenophis will be heading over to Billy May's room. It was just missiles. All right, a piece of heart and a red shield over at Billy May's as Cynas heads into early Super's room. We've got Big 20 in the foyer. Just another Big 20, some missiles, another Big 20. Early Super's not really paying off at the moment. More missiles, and Lenophis looks to be taking what some people are calling the meme route. Oh, speaking of early Supers. Oh, no, he's not going left from there. But the early Supers room in the ceiling had the Cane of Samar.
Looks like it came back just in time to see that cane. That's a nice pickup for Cynas. Ooh, nice moonfall for him to get down to the Edicoons.
Refilling on some of those power bombs there. And we get more missiles. And the X-ray scope. Down at the Edicoons.
I don't think that's going to do our runners much good, seeing as how they know where everything is.
Well, I should hope so. But there are a few little tricks you can pull with that. maybe microwave a boss or two.
Oh, and I'm seeing a question in chat about the nature of this randomizer, which we normally would start off by doing, but with a little bit of a late start, we didn't quite get there. Do you wanna talk a little bit about what this randomizer is and how it works?
Sure. All right. So what we have here are two very amazing, very classic Nintendo games, Super Metroid and A Link to the Past. Now, what we've done is we've taken the items and moved them around in such a way that the games are still completable. Now, when I say we, I mean the developers of this randomizer, mostly Total and some other contributors, I'm sure. But the idea is all the items between the two games are randomized around. It just so happened that the structure of the games was such that it would work between the two games. It's very interesting. Now, of course, you have to have some way to get between the two games, and there are some fixed portals that will get you between the two games. And the idea is just beat Ganon and beat Mother Brain. It's that simple.
Yeah, this is just a wonder of randomizers all around. Like I saw this the first time and thought this is potentially the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and then I played it and was like, wow, this is just so much fun. It adds a new dimension to both games in a lot of interesting ways. I think that you get a lot of like the tight execution from Super Metroid that is kind of missing from Link to the Past. And then what the Super Metroid randomizer alone is kind of missing, as we see Cynas getting this Spo skip first try, very, very nice, is that in Super Metroid, you really only need like 3 items to beat the game, actually. Like, you need the Varia suit and the gravity suit and the morph ball, and then the rest you can kind of pick your way through with very little else. And the ice beam is at the back of Spo skip. That's really interesting.
Uh-huh.
That's a very helpful item for later. But yeah, so because you only need those items, Super Metroid Randomizer is basically just find the suits, find some beams and some ammo, and then go win the game. And Link to the Past kind of provides the hard locks of like, you need to get these items to beat these dungeons that is missing from Super Metroid. So the games also complement each other very, very well in Randomizer. And so we see Cynas setting up for Wavegate skip, which he got on the second try. Very well done.
Mm-hmm. Just firing a super missile at just the right location allows it to, accelerate in such a way that it actually hits the switch and completely skips the gate there. And of course, this all happens off screen. Thank goodness that the physics keeps going off screen, or we'd never be able to hit that thing.
Yeah. So between the Spore Spawn skip that we saw Cynas do, and then the Wavegate skip, that only really leaves behind one location in Big Pink. As you see him get silvers from Green Hill Zone. So the only thing that they need to worry about that they left behind in Big Pink is the waterway location, which requires the speed booster. So that is kind of a troll location to come back to if they have to do it eventually.
So Cynas should be getting the hook shot over here once he heads to the rest of Blue Brinstar.
So we see a little bit of divergence in routing. Leno choosing to mop up Blue Bryn first, and then Cynas kind of looping around from Green Hill Zone to Blue Bryn. Which route do you like better?
I mean, I'm pretty much on board with the with heading through Green Hill Zone to get to Blue Brinstar, just because, as long as you take that door one way or the other, Like, either go through Gauntlet and come down and around, or go through Blue Star and then come out to the left and go back up through Green Hill Zone. I don't like having to climb back out the old Turian shaft again.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do kind of I actually kind of like Cynus's. I kind of like the idea of climbing up the shaft here for Cynas, just because it takes him back up towards the ship, and we could potentially see him do wreck ship using that grappling beam.
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense.
And then he can loop down the red tower and be in Upper Norfair. Though with Leno having that hook shot, he'll probably head down towards Upper Norfair, and we could see him do Death Mountain. So we could, even though they're kind of mopping up areas that the other one has already done, we could definitely see some really interesting divergence arise from just this minor change in route.
Yeah, since Leno already cleared out Blue Brinstar, he'll probably head over to the Red Tower sort of immediately, and maybe check X-Ray and things like that, and probably head just down to Norfair right now. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if Cynas is willing to take the one-item gamble on wreck ship. He may also be dissuaded from doing wreck ship just because of his energy situation. I mean, like, 300 in Variasuit is enough to do a Phantoon, but you might want a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd probably not be able to do that myself, but I might give it a shot. Cynas getting stuck in the holes here. We are going to get to see what is in the shaft supers here. It was the red pendant over in Eastern Palace. Whoa! That's the mirror at the Shaft Supers location. We're going to need to get that speed booster at some point. Unless, of course, Swamp is a pendant. All right, so Cynas now making the climb out of Old Turian Shaft. I mean, no. Certainly not in logic. I think I might know what that stands for. Maybe.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What stands for what?
Someone said we could CF clip, and I'm assuming that stands for Crystal Flash, but I don't know what that means. I don't know what Crystal Flash clip means.
I feel like you're right, but I have no idea how that would even be executed. So I'm just gonna move on with my life and assume we're gonna need the speed booster.
Oh yeah, definitely doing speed boosters stuff here. Yeah, so Lenophis heading down. Interestingly enough, skipping the X-ray scope location. Pretty sure it's in logic right now, on account of having the grapple beam.
Yeah, so we are getting this kind of interesting divergence here, and this is totally 100% the correct route for Leno to take, because he's going to go up to Death Mountain, he's going to get the old man, and then he'll be able to come back to Upper Norfair whenever he wants. and then when it comes time for him to clear the wreck ship, he can just do it back to the ship with a hard reset.
Canis Samaria was at the early supers room in the ceiling there.
We see Leno going for Kraid first, so we're going to have our first required boss kill of the run.
And I mean, Cynas is headed over to Fantoon, so it's going to be some pretty close. Another thing behind that pretty quick. That is a wave beam over in Kraid's lair. Or like the second part of the wrecked ship, technically, I guess.
Yes, so Cynas piecing out of doing the wreck ship. I'm not sure where he's going to go from here. He could head straight down Red Tower and then meet up with Leno, being a little bit behind him. But then, he's eventually going to have to come back to the wreck ship anyway. Maybe just, since he knows that the speed booster is required now, he might be tempted to just wait to get the speed booster before he does the wreck ship.
I will never get this quick kill.
Not with that attitude, you won't.
I know. Whoa, speaking of, there's a Master Sword. Yeah, probably just saving before heading over to Fantoon.
I think that's a wise call.
There's a decent chance of death here.
It's entirely possible. And he's going to check this underwater item, which is a good idea. Maybe it's an energy tank, something to help him out.
10 arrows is not what I would consider particularly helpful.
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever tried arrows on Fantoon?
I mean, one of these days I'll try it, but I don't think it's going to work as well as you think it does.
I mean, I'll just hold out hope for the next version of the randomizer.
Silvers, I'm sure, would take him down in one hit.
Yeah, crossword items. Ooh, nice catch on the grapple beam.
Because, I mean, so he's basically just a big Argus, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty much the same. The puffs are fireballs instead, and I mean, you know from the coding that these are essentially the same game, just like this is like Link to the Past in space.
Yeah, basically.
So
300 rupees at the one wreck ship item you can access before Fantoon. I don't know what you call that item, but I call it the one wreck ship item you can access before Fantoon.
It's that's an appropriate name. Very poignant, meaningful.
It's very literal.
All right, so Cynas going
exactly what it says on the tin.
Cynas going in his fight with the big eyeball. We'll see how this goes for him. I suspect he'll be fine. Considering, he could have saved the first time and was considering skipping it and was like, well, I probably lose the race if I die, so probably worth the extra minute.
All right. Leno checking out the ice beam location while we're fighting a Fantoon. And pretty decent damage on that first phase there. Looked like you might have got about 6 or 7 hits in.
That one not so
was
good.
Just the 4. It looks like we're getting the long pattern here on Fantoon for the third time. I think he might be in super missile range now.
Yeah, once he's fully red like that, he's in super missile range, so one super missile will kill him. I think Cynas is just playing it a little bit safe.
He's on 94 health, so...
Yeah, if he gets enraged, then he's probably going down, so...
And down goes Fantoon with Cynas on 39 health. I don't know about you, but I would be making a beeline for that save station.
Oh, yes, indeed. Especially since normally the very next thing you do after picking up a couple of items is go to the spiky death room, so...
All right, speaking of old man rescues, I know we weren't actually speaking of that, but we spoke of it a while ago. Here he is.
All right, so Leno gonna turn in the old man. This will be useful because he can use that Link to the Past Super Metroid portal that's right here later on just by using a save and quit. Oh, he's getting bodied by those dead rocks. You gotta be careful here.
Cynas picks up the plasma beam on the right-hand side of wrecked ship in the robot conveyor belt room.
It's a nice pickup for him. Definitely makes traversal of Super Metroid a lot easier when the enemies go down in one shot most of the time.
All we need is charge beam, and then we can start, roasting bosses alive. Specifically Dragon, because that's all that's left.
Hey, we found the Link to the Past plasma beam.
Yeah.
So Fire Rod being picked up for Leno in the Paradox Cave location. He's got 5 more chests here, and then a couple more on Death Mountain. So a big benefit to Cynas here would be if he managed to pick up something like the hammer up here.
Is Cynas actually doing sponge bath with power bombs?
Yeah, this is doable. It's really not any different than with regular bombs. You just have a limited resource. The timing's the same.
The timing's impossible.
It's tough. It definitely takes some practice.
I've managed to get it while I was stepping through frames once.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you just lay the bomb right as you're hitting the water, and then you just kind of jump up and morph as quickly as you can. And for me, it's a little bit of you throw up a little bit of a prayer since I haven't practiced it that much. Leno opting not to check the hint, Kappa. But yeah, you just lay the bomb right as you hit the water, and then just jump up and morph, and hopefully you get it. Fortunately, there's a save station right there too, so if you're planning on doing it with power bombs, you can just reset your power bomb count.
So Lenophis did get a glove as well, it looks like, and we'll be heading into the back of Escape.
I did not see where he picked that one up. That must have been was it in Spiral Cave?
Could have been. All right, we got more supers over here in the attic here. I'm gonna call it the attic. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what it is now.
Yep, that's the one.
And it looks like we got more sword.
Yeah, so Leno's all the way on tempered right now, which is a big benefit for him. Now, this is one of the downsides to going to the wreck ship early that Cynas is experiencing right now, because there's really no good way to get this missiles in the sky item with his current equipment. So he's going to have to ride these slow thingies.
And then there's that situation where you have to try to jump onto the next platform, and if you fail, you get to do the pogo stick following situation here. That is a technical term for jumping up and down whilst following a platform. So we had a sword in the back of Escape. We had a glove in Crumble Tower. Okay. I know what that is. It's the thing over by Ice Beam. Oh.
Cynas having a real hard time here. He's going to opt to skip it.
Some more supers down there in the left side. Or the middle ocean item. So now we'll be leaving 2 items behind in wrecked ship area. And Lenophis is going for Aga, which is entirely within logic and might just be the play, you know? Also sitting on a cool 3 to the 6th rupees. He does. He does have the Tempered Sword. Alright, Cynas heading into the Chorizo Bowling Alley. Go down to the Gravity Suit location and perhaps check another 2 locations down here.
So I'm not sure how I feel about this Agon in play.
Well, I mean, So the Aga play, the thing is, we're still missing, you know, the hammer or another glove to reach the Dark World in some other method. But there's one other item that puts Dark World access in logic, and that's Gravity Suit.
Yeah, because you could then get to. I think you'd still need the speed booster to get through Batoon, right? Oh wait, no. I guess you could go through Forgotten Highway, maybe.
Yeah, potentially. No, I think you still have to go through Batoon. I think you're right.
Yeah, so you would need speed booster to put that in logic. That you could use the Ice Beam to clip it. And the other
there's
glove.
Another glove. So, that's gonna put Dark World access in logic without Aga.
That's gonna be big for Cynas for a lot of ways. Because once he gets that second glove, he's gonna get it right on Death Mountain. He's gonna be able to do all of the Dark World East Death Mountain locations when he's over there, and he won't have to do this Aga dip that Leno's doing. So this is gonna be pretty costly for Leno.
Alright, so Cynas heading down to Red Tower. He will be the first of our runners to check the Alpha and Beta Power Bombs locations, which Lenophis did not check.
Yeah, see, this is the problem I had with that Aga play. Is you still had the wreck ship. It wasn't turning out too good for Cynas, but then it all paid off in the end. But also with the Ice Beam, you have, and the Varia suit, you have the Bubble Mountain checks in logic.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you have the, I think there's 7 items over there, and then you can get to, ooh, our map check. Okay. So we had Pod and Swamp are 5-6, and then Turtle Rock is a blue.
That looked correct, yes. So it definitely Swamp is not a pendant, and therefore we're going to need that speed booster.
Yeah, so Speed Booster and Mirror both required this seed. And Leno is also going to have the unfortunate piece here as he's going to Pod of getting the items from Pod but not being able to clear it when it is a crystal.
Yeah, unless of course the hammer's in here, which is a possibility.
Definitely possible. I think if I'm Leno, like I like doing the loop up towards Catfish, and then using the hook shot across the water first, hoping to get the hammer from over there before doing this. I mean, you already did the Ago play, so you have that convenient little portal to get you back here if you need to. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do the Aga play, you might as well put it to good use.
Yeah, I mean, he might be able to use it later too if he ever turns in the big red bomb. Save himself a little bit of time there, since we know he's going to get the mirror at some point.
Right, and perhaps Cynas will also check the X-ray location, which our esteemed Lenophis did not do earlier.
Yeah, with Grapple Beam, this is pretty straightforward, and especially you have the insurance policy of having the Varia suit. As we see, the spikes are only dealing 10 damage. I think they deal 40 with no suits.
Yeah, something to that effect.
Yeah, this
All I
room's
know
real
is I
scary
don't
without
want
suits.
to touch them. Basically, if I don't have a suit, I consider space jump a hard requirement for this room.
Yeah, them grapple mechanics, man, they get you.
Alright, that is a full heart container, so no real loss for skipping this on Leno's side.
The big question marks in my mind, I'm really nervous if I'm Cynas for leaving those 2 wreck ship locations behind, because those are so hard to get back to. Very
true. It's a little easier since you've already been through there. You can, it's like once you get the speed booster or something. But you won't want to go back over there until you have something like the speed booster or something to make it easier to get those silly items.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much orphaning those items. You won't come back for them unless it's 100% necessary. Nice jump from Cynos there to get back up that shaft. And Leno taking the long walk back, opting not to take a death warp. I don't know if he has a bottled fairy or something that would disincentivize this, but...
Well, I mean, you don't always take a death warp. I don't know exactly what's going on there. Alright, so Cynas heading over to Kraid. He's going to pick up the wave beam and a few other glorious things. Man, if I were Cynas after picking up this wave beam, I'd be like, okay, now where's charge? And then I'll have like all the arsenal.
Yeah, this seed is setting our runners up pretty well in both games as far as weaponry goes. We've got the Tempered Sword already in Link to the Past, and Plasma already in Plasma and Ice in Super Metroid. Really, only charge is the only thing keeping us away from being completely stacked out, as you've said.
So we got the wave beam. And let's see if Cynas can do the same impossible quick kill that Lenophis can do. It's not impossible. I'm just being that guy.
Just a little bit of practice. It's a little finicky.
See, you and I have two different definitions of the word "a little."
Oh no! You called it. Oh, there it is.
Hammer in pod, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit to the right of its vanilla location.
Wow, 316 locations. It still ends up in the same dungeon. That's a big play for Leno here. I was gonna say, Cynas with those being able to skip Aga and getting the Titan's mitts and getting to see some extra locations, I was gonna give him some advantage there, but that is a huge play from Leno getting that hammer. He's completing his toolbox there with another helpful tool, the shovel. Not quite as good, but we'll take it.
Yep. Already got some, like a high-end saw. It's basically a laser saw.
Got a flamethrower.
Yep.
We got a cane of Samaria. If I had that in my toolbox, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, basically.
Here, hold this down for me. But yeah, so Leno's going to be able to full clear this dungeon, picking up a 5-6 crystal along the way. And then where do you go if you're him?
Well, if you're Leno, I think you're probably going to head across to West Dark World. You might go check Catfish, just to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, you got in West Dark World over by Village of Outcasts, you have 2 completable dungeons because he has that fire rod. So yeah, I think that's a good play. He'll probably just swing those 2 things together.
All right, so Cynas is about to go pick up the Titan's mitts, according to the intel we have received.
They were here in the Crumble Tower?
That's what we've been told. The other glove was here in Crumble Tower. I didn't see it when it happened, but yep, there it is.
Yeah, I think Cynas was doing his Fantoon fight while Leno was picking this up, so I wasn't giving it as much attention as I should. But there you go, there's glove number 2.
Alright, Cynas just wall jumping his way out of here.
This room's a bit tricky.
Yeah, you can jump for just a little bit after landing on those platforms. I don't know how many frames you have. It's more than 1, or else I couldn't do it.
And he chooses to wall jump to not set off the crumble blocks, which is pretty smart.
Yeah,
but one of the things you can do with those crumble blocks, which is really helpful, and it kind of like changes the way you think about them, is that you can kind of buffer your jump before you land for a couple of frames, and you will jump when you hit the crumble block. So.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I remember now.
So Leno putting the silver arrows to our friend Helmasaur King here, and just rewarded with 5 arrow upgrade, but also a 5-6 crystal.
Cynas going into the high jump area, gets the super missiles, and sees some bombs and says, nope.
Yeah, so if I'm Leno, I'm feeling really good about myself right now after that play.
Oh yeah, hammer and pod is something that no one ever sees coming. This is in combo randomizer or otherwise. Ooh, there's an ether medallion over at the Crocomire escape area.
And so, I mean, that hammer, in addition to allowing you to full clear, it does so much. I mean, it allows you to full clear Thieves Town without having to worry about leaving an item behind. It allows you to get over to Tower of Hera, which is big, because that's another crystal that we can complete. And, eventually, if Leno gets over to... When he gets over to the wreck ship and gets his other glove, then he'll be set to do Ice Palace.
Mm-hmm. So go with me on this journey. Put the speed booster in Hera, so that you have to find that hammer first, and then you can go find the mirror, and then you can go do Swamp.
Oh man, that actually, that's pretty spicy, but it also, like, just from what I know about the randos being mean, it just feels like something that Rando would do.
Well, I actually think it's somewhat merciful because it sort of limits the number of places you can get trolled into before finding that hammer.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I feel like it's a little like less trolly than in regular Link to the Past randomizer for hammer to be in pod, because I mean that just means when you go there, you're going to clear pod. So you have a bunch of other stuff to do in Super Metroid, and as long as that turns out to be fruitful, then you're not really missing out on a whole lot. That starts to go real south, though, if you like head down to Lower Norfair and there's not a whole lot down there, and you're just missing hammer. Like, it could get real dicey.
All right, so our catfish just has some sort of flying bomb, and it's time to head to West Dark World. Fire Rod acquired for Cynas.
And so we're going to get to see what's back here at the Titan's Mint locations over on Death Mountain. This will be big for Cynas. If this has something, then he'll be the first to it by quite some time. Unfortunately, falls on the bomb jump, which is not great, but not horrible. I mean, it only wastes like 10 seconds or so.
Yeah. And like me, basically, when I fail that, I'm just walking out, just going in the old-fashioned way. That is the powder, which now I am looking at this game and being like, why you gotta be so cruel to me? Why you gotta put my powder where I can see it and not get it? What is wrong with you?
I know you and the powder have a history.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So, but yeah, no, I don't think they'll get that powder unless it ends up being required that Magic Bat is, hiding something. Just because who knows where the cape's hiding.
Yep, there is that. And of course, if we find a mushroom, probably won't ever see that powder picked up. So we can do the fake powder glitch. Which, the fake powder glitch is how I eventually taught myself gravity jump.
You're gonna have to tell me this story because,
they're basically
I mean,
the
you've
same
just said
thing.
this and I already don't believe you.
They're basically the same thing. Like from a conceptual standpoint, you do a thing, you pause, you switch to another thing, and then it just works.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'm seeing it a little bit now. Okay. I thought we were just going like super deep with this crossover, like just like feeling the energy of the the fake powder or something like that.
Seems legit. All right. Cynas is now heading to check the Super Bunny Cave, which of course our esteemed Lenophis was unable to check due to lack of Titan's Mitts. We got an arrow upgrade and some missiles. So ammo capacity all around, but nothing we're very interested in. Yes, both runners absolutely cannot see each other. And they are, in fact, streaming on a 15-minute delay to sort of disincentivize that. Now, the hookshot cave has a missile, a big 20, 5 rupees, and the 4th sword. So, butter may happen. The butter sword, or the gold sword, may happen for some of us. Looks like the Quake medallion is going to be required for Turtle Rock as well. Lenophis is taking care of Mothula, and that is a compass. But that does take care of a crystal dungeon as well, so just taking care of business over in Northwest Dark World.
Yeah, so his sword is nice for Cynas up there, but that's really not what you're hoping for if you're him.
Pretty much.
And so Leno's going to come back through and get this item. Obviously, he's done his item counts. He knows this is something. Well, Cynas is going to go ahead and get that gold sword right away. Or maybe not.
I think he actually hasn't done the vanilla big key chest, the one in the middle. Yep, Cynas is about to go pick up the butter sword, which is going to be great. Big swords and, like, no mail. Glass cannon mode activated.
Yeah, still not on a lot of health there for the runners and still in green mail, so that can be dangerous.
I guess maybe both items were already found. Or I guess the big chest holds something, maybe? Nope. Leno is out. And we'll be heading down to Village of Outcasts, I imagine. All right, Sea House for Lenophis. There's the speed booster. And that's going to get us our mirror.
Oh my, that's really big. So Leno went from, I think, a pretty substantial lead to that's a big gain because he's going to get the mirror from that very, very soon.
Yep. Let's just hope that he goes into pod, though, before trying to go into swamp.
So with that, we're getting very, very close to go mode here.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to calculate, right? So you'll want the gravity suit for sure. I mean, some people can do suitless Dragon, but it's certainly not required.
I'm not sure on whether or not the runners will do that or are able to do that. But if they can, I mean, that leaves just the flippers, right?
No, we got the flippers.
Oh, when did we get the flippers?
They were in Gauntlet.
Oh my. Oh yeah, this is not on the tracker. Okay. All right. So, is that it? Just the gravity suit?
Assuming you can find a good way to get to Misery Mire.
Oh yeah, and then there's the whole medallion. If whatever the Misery Mire medallion is could be a go mode item.
Right. Now I know you can sort of go backwards in Lower Norfair to reach the screw attack item. You won't be able to go the intended way, but that could get you into the Misery Mire area. Otherwise, we'll be needing the flute.
Yeah, flute would be really nice here for a couple of reasons, but not entirely. I mean, not entirely a go mode item due to that link to the past portal, which is, one of the really cool things about this randomizer. Like, the flute might be in Misery Mire. But if they do get that flute, then they'll be able to shortcut having to do the lava pit.
Yeah.
Though wait, do they have a way to do the lava pit right now?
I mean, not in the logic.
I don't think they have the movement items to do it. I think there's like a short chart.
Like, I'm told you can do lava dive without high jump boots if you have to, but you don't want to.
You are correct. It is doable without the high jump boots. It's pretty tough, but certainly doable if you have practiced and have the skill set to do it. But you're gonna really want those high jump boots. I mean, obviously, if you get gravity suit, it's all a moot point, and then we're just in full go.
This seems like the sort of seed that would put gravity suit on the pedestal. I had that before the other day in a seed I was practicing. I was like, really?
Oh no! When Cynas takes a death.
Yeah, and I think we may be short E-tanks to do the whole ridiculous lava dive situation. All you gotta do is give those to pointy end of your sword. And Lenophis dealing with blind. Goes down. And there's those high jump boots we were talking about just a minute ago.
I guess we can call that a commentator's blessing.
Seems good.
So Cynas seems to be going through Link to the Past the way I talked about earlier, taking that hookshot route first, hoping to find the hammer before pod, but unfortunately, that ain't gonna work out this time.
Alright, so 10 arrows at the brewery, and that's going to do it for Village of Outcasts. Now, of course, Lenophis does not have access to the Titan's Mitts just yet, so we'll not be able to access the blacksmith or any of that mess. And it's time to go digging. Hey, there's a mail upgrade for Lenophis. That'll be the first one we've found so far. And Lenophis will now be heading toward Stumpy. Now here's the thing, Lenophis has the speed booster, but I'm reasonably certain Lenophis does not know that the mirror is at Shaft Supers. Whereas
that's a really good point. Yeah, that knowledge for Cynas is pretty huge right now. Like, Leno does not know the treasure that he found in that speed booster just yet. But Cynas does, and he just got it, so...
Alright, so Super Missiles, E-Tank, Spring Ball, and the missiles over in Hype Cave. So for fans of the Spring Ball, there's your hype.
I'm Spring Ball's biggest fan, definitely.
Are you?
I love the Spring Ball. It's fantastic. I love doing Spring Ball jumps. I love moving around with the Spring Ball and not having the bomb jump. Not a meme for me.
The Spazer is sitting there on the Lake Hylia Island. Poor Spazer. Always showing up after Plasma. Alright, we got Hobo time. Hobo giving away his life savings. Why you gotta shake down a poor homeless guy? I'm not sure Link is the good guy in this story. Alright, big key for Cynas. We'll be heading to the back of Thieves Town to eventually get those high jump boots. We've got to dig for Space Jump! Digging for Space Jump, folks. That shovel, of course, also coming to us courtesy of Palace of Darkness. So, Palace of Darkness coming up double. And it looks like Lenophis back into Super Metroid. I imagine we'll probably be seeing a wrecked ship play here.
Oh man, he is orphaning that mirror location though. There's really no reason for him to be in Brinstar, except for the two speed booster locations, the one that holds the mirror and then the one in Big Pink.
Yeah,
so
and
that could be really dangerous.
I mean, the one in Big Pink, like, you don't need Gravity Suit, but you like it. So you might just wait till you have Gravity Suit to check that. Alright. I was probably going to take a refill here, and then I imagine head over toward Wrecked Ship.
So once he gets those Titan's mitts, what's going to be going through his head?
Well, I mean, because he's got the speed booster here and the space jump, I would be tempted to try to figure out a way to get over to Gold Teresa so I could find my way to Misery Mire.
Yeah, I completely agree. You really want to unravel whether or not you are in pseudo go mode right now. Because if it's the the Ether Medallion at Mire, then that's all she wrote. As long as you can find a way to do Suitless Dragon. One of the ways, by the way, is with the Spring Ball. Just
Everything
saying.
is in the spring. Everything is with the Spring Ball. Isn't that the thing involving the the grapple beam and doing the weird jump thing?
Yeah. So you can set up a kind of weird grapple jump where you just continually gain height by morphing and unmorphing, and then to get out of the main room, you can use the high jump and grapple and high jump and spring ball to get out. So.
And you can also.
Oh wait! No, wait, hold on. No, do you need gravity for that? I think you need gravity for that. I might be wrong. Oh, X-ray can get you out. You can do an X-ray climb.
That sounds like the worst tough times.
I'm not saying what's likely to be done. I'm just saying that it could be done.
You can also just use like a blue suit to do that if you can short charge.
Ooh, Cynas clutching out that blind fight and going to be rewarded with his high jump boots. He was one hit away.
Very nicely done. Lenophis taking care of Fantoon here. Taking quite a while to respawn after that phase there. Sets up a phase with about 6 or 7 hits on phase 1. It might have been like 6, I think. There's another 2, and then... Oh, that's beautiful. That was like 8.
That was a very well done Doppler there. So you should be able to finish in this phase with another Doppler and a super. Got the short eye open and missed the shot, so I'll have to wait a little bit longer.
Sometimes it's just almost impossible to hit the target there before the eye closes. Like he puts a flame between.
You're just getting blocked by that flame, like Matumbo says no.
Not in my house. Anyway.
He finger wags at you with one of those little like tentacle things. But yeah, it really helps like to know Fantoon's patterns and to know where he's going to end up. Like he only has a very limited number of patterns, but Leno getting it very cleanly there, never really in danger of dying. Even when you know though, it's still sometimes hard to hit that eyeball.
And there we go. Leno finishing off Fantoon. And the rest of this area should be pretty academic. I don't remember Cynas actually checking Spiky Room of Spiky Death.
He did not. He attempted the sponge bath and then the sponge bath bomb jump and then bailed.
Oh yeah. Now I think you can sort of like run in and get a running jump with the speed booster and not have to worry about that mess. Like I don't think you have to spark it, is what I'm saying.
No, you don't. You can just do a running jump out of the water with the speed booster, and that's good enough. But he also has the space jump, which is going to make it very easy.
Oh right, space jump. Duh.
It's easy to forget. I mean, we were so hype over the speed booster and high jump boots for a while, so he's wisely going to take a save here.
So, in my brain equates the space jump with the magic powder between the two games. And I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. They both unlock exactly one item in Logic by themselves.
Okay.
And they're like both hard required for exactly one item, and they make your life just so much easier.
I feel like you're really just trying to fit everything in a square peg into a round hole with this.
I mean, you're
this
not
powder here,
wrong.
Dr. Bob.
You're not wrong. The thing is, with Super Metroid, everything feels so weird. I have to relate it to the Link to the Past somehow.
Leno taking the reset back to the save point, and saving himself a little bit of time there.
Alright, so Lenophis heading over to the attic situation. Gonna take care of these enemies here. The first couple times I played this randomizer, I thought you had to kill everything in this room twice. I didn't realize you could open the door on both sides and it would just stay that way. We got a piece of heart on the desert ledge, and it looks like Cynas is going for the Agina's cave play. Alright, now with the space jump and speed booster, it should be no trouble whatsoever for Lenophis to get the, sky high item here. It's just a missile, so Cynas will not be missing out on anything important there.
Yeah, that's a big break for Cynas. He really needed that to stay in this game.
Now, Lenophis did just leave behind some free super missiles, but, I mean, some people are okay with, few super missiles.
That could be very, very relevant here, though. Without Charge Beam, you need a certain number of supers in order to finish off Mother Brain. And I think they're sitting on, Cynas has 40, but Leno just skipped a pack, so Leno might only have, 30 or 35, which isn't enough on its own.
Yeah. You can add some normal missiles to that count as well, if you want to.
Yeah, every 3 regular missiles counts as a super, but I think you need 60 super shots.
Yeah, that is very true.
So if Leno is indeed on 30 here, or even on 35, he's not quite there yet, and he's going to need some more ammo. That's a slick little strat for moving those robots.
So Lenophis will be checking the speed booster item, and go ahead and pick up the free energy tank, because why not?
Yeah, the seed has been great on ammo, but not so great on health and health items.
And Lenophis will now be picking up the Titan's mitts at the gravity suit location. Cynas, on the other hand, is about to go get the mirror.
Yeah, Cynas moon fell a little too hard there, straight through the platform, and then had to reload the room.
Wait, does the platform, disappear? Or what?
You clip straight through it, you're moving too fast.
Yeah, but I mean, couldn't you just jump back up to it?
Yeah, but graphically it looks all funky and it's a little bit difficult to do.
And Cynas does the quick speed booster shine spark charge to get that mirror and escape the shaft. Lenophis will now be going to check the alpha and beta power bomb locations, and I'm thinking might throw in that X-ray he checked a little while, or he missed a little while ago.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this is taking him further and further away from that mirror. And I've seen races decided on leaving shaft supers behind.
Yep.
Because I mean, once Cynas figures out that hammer and pod thing, then Leno's lead kind of evaporates, and there are so many Super Metroid locations to check that he could just start, catching right back up. Especially if Leno's hunt for the mirror leads him somewhere nasty, like into Ice Palace.
Ugh. I mean, Ice Palace is, perfectly valid location.
Did we see Cynas trying to take the blacksmith into Super Metroid?
That's hilarious.
He's like, I'm just a simple blacksmith. Please don't take me into outer space.
See, now I just want to see what the blacksmith turns into when you take him to Zebes. Or Zebes. He's a frog in the dark world.
The Adventures of Crossover Rando.
He's a frog in the dark world. In the light world, he's a blacksmith. I'm assuming that in Super Metroid, he's like actually Crocomire.
He's just one of Crocomire's eyeballs. Or, if he wants to stick with the frog theme, he could be one of those like little hopper things that attach to you. I always forget what those are called.
Oh yeah, those things. I don't know what they're called. All I've heard them called is frogs.
Yeah, because they occupy the frog speedway.
Exactly.
Speaking of Croc, we haven't seen that guy yet.
We have not. The speed booster makes that a little more likely to be checked at some point. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lenophis go there soon.
Yeah, the way he's going, I think he's probably going to head towards Bubble Mountain, and then might check out Croc on the way out of Bubble Mountain. And then, eventually, hopefully finding his way down to Lower Norfair to resolve this whole suspense around the Misery Mire medallion.
All right, so it looked like our blacksmith had another energy tank today, which is pretty good for Cynas, who's also sporting the number of the beast on his rupee count today.
Spooky.
Also known as 18 times 37.
Yes, I knew that. So
I'm just going to be dropping number facts all morning because that's what happens when I'm sleep deprived. I think about numbers.
Thinking about numbers makes me sleepy, so in that way we're kind of similar.
Just a missile pack at Cathedral Missiles, and we're heading over to Bubble Mountain. What's up?
Yeah, so I think this race is starting to take a really interesting turn now. I think there's not a whole lot of mystery left in this race except for where that gravity suit is, and then if we have a medallion.
Hey, how about Screw Attack?
Not as good as Spring Ball, but I'll take it. But so like Leno has kind of orphaned this mirror, which Cynas has, and then as soon as Cynas figures out the whole pod thing, this is going to end up being quite a race, I think.
Interestingly enough, Lenophis not going up to Norfair Reserve or Speed Booster, just heading to looks like we're gonna see we might see some lava dive situation.
He did save before this, right?
Maybe? Yeah, I think so.
So he's getting set up. I like this play a lot as long as he, is able to complete this lava dive. Just because it takes you directly where you need to go, and if you find the gravity suit along the way, then excellent. Oh, you won't, I guess. Maybe you will if the flute's out there somewhere, and that was the
if the
intended
flute's
way.
out there, you could absolutely find the lava dive there. Oh, it just occurred to me that the ice beam could be useful here. I didn't realize you could freeze those guys. That makes the lava dive significantly easier.
Yeah, I would not have used it that way too. That was really smart on Leno's part. Oh, the frogs are called B-toms. Thank you, Rimrook. I always forget that. Like, I will remember it now and then immediately forget it before the next time I commentate. So, yeah, B-tom Highway, B-tom Speedway just doesn't have the same ring to it.
My question is, can we put a B-tom in a bottle?
Total needs to be taking notes on this stream. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Like we do a B-torp and see what happens.
We had all kinds of powder crossovers. I mean, we're just full of ideas. None of them good, but I mean, you can at least, consider them.
Clearly.
Right, so this location for Leno is kind of big. I mean, since he has the space jump. Oh, I guess they both have the space jump at this point, so. But, he's decided to take this route early, so if that had something, it would have been really good for him. Another energy tank is nice.
Seems good. Now it's time for Gold Chorizo.
And we exploit the ultimate weakness of Gold Chorizo, which is having his feet stepped on.
Mm-hmm. And just enough missiles to pull that out.
I mean, I don't blame him, man. That hurts.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Moon Pearl for Smash, yes please. Alright, Misery Mire, here we are. Ether it is. And we know exactly where that Ether Medallion is. Right, heading over to Wave Beam, we've got Heart Piece, whatever's in the Wave Beam item proper, missiles, and a big 20 in the Mire Shed. Energy tank at Wave Beam. Seems good.
Yeah, so with that Ether Medallion, we are now in pseudo no mode.
Yeah. I mean, if it were me racing this, I would need the gravity suit, because I have no idea what to do. But,
yeah, it's really going to come down to, how well the gravity suit is hidden versus, runner knowledge of how to execute the suitless Dragon fight and get out, which is probably the harder part of that fight. If you're Leno, though, and you know the Dragon escape, I'm not even sure you really want to find gravity suit right now.
yeah, basically, you've got this, you've got the, you want the gravity suit to be on the pedestal, essentially, if that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, slick little setup with the speed booster there from Cynas to get out. And yeah, so like, if he finds the gravity suit, then he's going to be hunting Meridia for the mirror, which is not good for him. It's not where he needs to be going. So, what he'd prefer is to just, be able to backdoor Dragon using some hacks and then eventually find the mirror some other way.
There is that other thing he needs to find, which is the, well, no, okay, Leno has the hammer. It's Cynas that needs to find the hammer. So it's, both of our runners need to locate something that the other runner has located.
I'd say the longer this goes, the longer Leno goes without finding the mirror, I feel like this becomes more of Cynas's race, honestly. Because without that hammer, he's not going to be baited into Ice Palace. And he's down in Crocomire now, which means that he'll be getting his Ether Medallion. He'll be able to finish Misery Mire while he's down in Lower Norfair. He'll be able to scope out Desert. Like, advantages are starting to pile up for Cynas.
Seems entirely legit. Another E-Tank over here. So a lot of the E-Tanks are just kind of hiding out in Super Metroid areas. Alright, Leno takes care of the Metal Pirates. I'm thinking we'll see some ammo farming here. Maybe I'm full of it.
He's just farming up to full. He's going to kill the door first.
I'm like, because you're going to definitely want some number of super missiles here.
So it's 30 supers is the number that takes out Ridley, or equivalent in ammo.
Right, so 30 super missiles, assuming you hit with all of them.
Yeah, and then you can supplement that with missiles, but since supers do Ridley double damage, you need 6 missiles per super in order to equilibrate.
Right. So personally, if I were in this situation, I would basically fill up my entire supply, and I think Leno has like a supply of at least 35, possibly 40.
Yeah, a little over 30 should be fine for him with his regular missile count, because he's basically packing 10 extra supers in the form of regular missiles, or more than 10, but you know.
There's Gravity Suit.
Wait, what? Oh, it was a Croc. How about that?
Yep. In what people have told me is called the cosine room.
It does start at 1, so yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's correct.
So Leno's going to be doing his fight with Ridley, and we're officially in an actual no mode.
Yeah, logical and everything. Alright, so Leno's starting with just plain missiles here. Just unloading as many as he can before firing off the supers. Just getting that extra damage in. Now he's got plenty of leeway.
So potentially having the whole kit and caboodle of items here at an hour 40 is pretty insane.
Yeah, we're gonna see like some of the most go-mode seeds I've ever seen.
The runners
Hopefully.
still have some challenges in front of them. You know, like those items for each of them based on their route are not in easy to find locations.
Yeah, once they find it, it'll be great.
Yeah, so for the runners, we just hope that, you know, one of them resolves it quickly and is able to put up a really good time here.
To be honest, I feel like Cynas with that gravity suit will probably end up heading over to Meridia and doing some shenanigans over there, so that may not be the greatest thing for Cynas to have found.
I think it kind of evens out with him getting this Ether Medallion right here. Because if Leno doesn't find the flute, he's going to have a real hard time getting back to Misery Mire. Like potentially having to lava dive again.
I mean, he didn't seem to have that much trouble with it the first time, but yeah, it's a little bit of a pain. Nice little speedball trick there.
And so Cynas, I like this play, going into Tower of Hera. You know, it's right here, it's really quick. You know, it gets you your crystal. It seems like a pretty logical decision on his part. Though it would also seem like a good idea. I mean, he's kind of running out of Link to the Past locations that make a lot of sense, so Pod might not be too far in his future.
That would be ideal. I know, with that excellent damage boost off the Firefly. Just a big 20. I don't know what we call that room. All I know is I call it a pain.
Yeah, I think Cynas is advantaged here because the hammer just locks so much. Like, it's hard for him to make a ton of mistakes finding it, you know? Like, he can't get jebaited into Turtle Rock. He's not going to go into Ice Palace unless he's a madman. Can't do Swamp.
Yeah, I mean, Ice Palace is halfway useless without that. Hey, mushroom.
So we have access to half powder.
There is that. But I mean, we also have space jump, so basically that's full powder.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or like half space jump, if you will. Man, Link can't even jump once. Like, what would he do with the space jump?
Well, I mean, he could take it to Link's Awakening, I guess.
Little rock feather, help him out there. But one of the things I like about the pedestal text and the other dynamic texts with the book is Link's like readable confusion with like jumping items from Super Metroid. Where like if the high jump boots are on the pedestal, he's like, these would be great if I could jump.
That sounds great.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out the dynamic text options for the crossover for the Super Metroid items, some of them are kind of great.
All I know is I've seen No More Water Physics more times than I care to count.
Yeah, that's no fun.
2.
that is
I counted.
accurate to count too. I have to agree with you. I think the morph ball is the old "Why can't Metroid crawl" meme. So that would be an obscure one unless you actually downloaded the ROM. A lot of them are just like, what do I do with this space item, or something similar. All right, so Moldorm goes down for Cynas. He picks up his third crystal. Is still one dungeon behind, or one boss behind Cynas, or behind Leno. He hasn't killed Ridley yet, but Leno is heading down towards Crocomire and is about to pick up that gravity suit, which I imagine will lead him straight to Meridia.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's gonna be further away from that mirror.
Yeah, depending on what Leno decides to do, this could get really nasty for him. Like, I could see him... Let's just hope that he does not find the Quake Medallion. Like, that is the nightmare situation if you're Leno, is to find that Quake Medallion and then think, maybe I should dip into Turtle Rock?
I'm not a huge fan of thinking of dipping Turtle Rock when it's a pendant.
Yeah, I mean, pendant dungeons don't tend to pay out, and actually, you know, with us being in no mode, we know that all 3 pendant dungeons, for the millionth time in this crossover, were completely useless.
Now for the most frightening boss in the game. Ah! Oh wait, he's dead. Again. Lenophis skipping the cosine room first, so we'll be picking up the gravity suit last. Hey, red mail. Cynas already got that as well. And jumping over to the gravity, grapple beam location.
Alright, so Cynas is headed in the right direction here.
Yep, I think there's a catfish check forthcoming, but Pod may be after that. But Lenophis is picking up gravity suit right now. So we'll see how much of Meridia gets checked. Is it going to include Shack Tool? Who knows?
I'm thinking about this play from Cynas, and you know, it kind of resolved itself the way that we thought, is that, you know, what other good places does Cynas really have to check? I mean, like, he could go to Meridia, like, that's probably, you know, it's fully clearable, there's quite a few items there, but like, if you're already here, I mean, why not check Pod?
Yeah, I think you probably check Pod before you go. But we will see. I'm not capable of reading these runners' minds.
And Leno's on his way to Meridia now, so he'll be wasting time with every item that he picks up there, unless it's charge. Charge would be a decent pickup still.
Cynas going for the pyramid, of course, because his opponent, of course, has already checked this because Aga happened.
You know what, that hammer, once Leno found that hammer, it was looking like that Aga play was like subtly brilliant, but like now the time loss is starting to catch up to him a little bit. Yeah, and here we go. Cynas is heading over to Pod and it is going to be in full go mode, except for maybe ammo.
Yep, seems pretty good. Hey, speaking of charge beam.
Wow, yeah, this is all here. Oh no.
And a book. Oh boy.
That's bad.
So, yeah. So we say full go mode. There's always that one little wrinkle.
Oh, I know the wrinkle you're discussing.
There is the outside chance that the Pegasus boots are required and we don't have them.
I don't know that I've ever seen that happen before.
I have. You remember that 2v2 tournament that we were in one time?
Yeah, I totally remember.
I actually think it was one of your races.
It was. I was teasing you. That's why.
Oh. Okay, so yeah, we're on the same page here, sort of.
Yep.
Like I said, not much sleep last night. Oh, it's microwave time for Bot Woon. He's got to get out of his hole before he dies.
Yeah, microwave snake, not quite as good as microwave shrimp, but I'm sure we'll see a little bit of both.
Another energy tank at the Bot Woon item, and the Lenophis is like, nah, I got enough. Oh, are we getting it? Is this happening?
You got the halfie, not the full halfie. I can do a nunny, which is when you can't do either the halfie or the full halfie.
I agree.
And you just kind of like awkwardly grapple and get stuck in the sand all the way across that room.
Seems good.
Alright, so Dragon is not going to be long for this world.
He's not going to be short for it either. He's going to be like minuscule for it.
Oh, he's done. Alright, so with that, Leno is finished with all of his Super Metroid bosses. And Cynas is about to get into go mode with like a single question mark.
So basically, in the time that it takes Cynas to go do, like, Dragon and Ridley, Lenophis needs to go and find the mirror.
Yeah, that is what he needs to do, but there are so many item-dense locations that he can go check. I'm worried that he's just not going to get back there for quite a while. Like, his big chance to get that mirror was when he came into Link to the Past to do the wreck ship, and he did not. And that's going to end up really costing him here. I mean, he'd be well on his way to being done if he had that mirror.
And we get the glorious lag coming out of the Meridia portal. I still don't know what that's all about. Yeah, it's a definite possibility too. You're right.
Yeah, it's just like it's like one of those quirky things about the randomizer that's just like become endearing to me now. Like I expect the super slow pause and the doo 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 save and quit that immediately comes after it.
So it's like Bob. It's that sort of thing that if they ever figured out how to fix it, you'd protest.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Cynas has got his hammer, and he is in mostly like 99% go mode. I just wonder how much he stops to check at this point.
Who knows?
I mean, you want that charge beam, so you're going to be checking locations that I think are directly in your path. Like if you're in Swamp, you're not going left side, but you're probably going to check the flooded chests, I imagine.
Yeah, in the waterfall chest.
Yep. And if you're in Ice, you might check double freezors, you might check the Pengator room, but you're not going right side.
So do you think there's any chance he goes to the dig spot after picking up that shovel to get the space jump?
I don't know. Probably not. Uh-oh, Leno's running low on supers here. He's got to be careful. Oh, ouch. That's going to be hard. I don't know where you farm supers here.
That is a good question.
And I'm assuming that with Leno going this way, he did pick up the Ether Medallion. So that should be on his tracker.
Leno did, in fact, pick up the Ether Medallion.
Oh, okay. He's just gonna go around the regular way. I forgot that you could do this.
He's already been here.
Intended strategies.
Whee!
Yes.
All right, so Lenova's going to go ahead and check out Misery Mire. We know there's nothing particularly important there, but it's not going to stop him from trying.
Yeah, and this is going to be even more time lost for Leno because Cynas is definitely going to go mode this dungeon. And it's really going to depend on how generous the big key placement is. Like, Leno wants to see this, like, buried in the left side behind the fire rod. Because that means Cynas will have to hunt for it, too.
All right. So, Cynas finishing up the turtle room. Gonna be heading over to Helmasaur as Lenophis looking for the big key of Mire and, of course, the mirror, which he's not going to find.
So if we're assuming that Cynas is just gonna, basically go mode the game, his completion time is gonna be really good.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, depending on your level of execution, I would think that the sub 3 is not out of the question here.
Yeah, so he's just picked up his 4th Link to the Past crystal. He's got a Go Mode, Swamp, and Ice, so that's like, 10 minutes-ish?
Yeah.
And then...
got Mire.
And then he's got Mire and Ridley, which is probably another, 10 minutes. Probably closer to like 15.
Yeah, and then he's still got to do Dragon, but that takes all of like 5 minutes if you come in from the Meridia portal.
Yeah, I imagine that Dragon...
GT and Motherbrain.
Yeah, I imagine that Cynas is gonna save Dragon for after Ganon. Just a, quick swim down from the pyramid.
Yeah, Space Jump is definitely going to be required in logic for this, but if he knows how to get out of Dragon without Space Jump, then should be okay. And I guess technically he doesn't even have a way to get into Lower Norfair other than doing Lava Dive.
I mean, with the high jump boots, as long as you know the setup, the Lava Dive isn't that bad. The danger here would be he doesn't know the setup and he actually needs to just hunt out that space jump, in which case we're going to have a real race on our hands.
All right, so Cynas is now entering Swamp Palace.
That's interesting. If he was in, go mode or pseudo go mode, I would assume that he would not be checking stuff. Does he know the Meyer medallion yet?
Cynas does not know the Meyer medallion. No, he's not been to Meyer yet.
Oh man, he really needs that info. He should be getting it before doing these dungeons because, from his perspective, that's really dangerous. Like, if you go mode this dungeon and you left behind the Bombos or Quick medallion that's required, you're gonna be real sad.
All right, so somebody asked what the worst room in the game is. It's the room just past the first lava room on the way out of Gold Chorizo heading toward Ridley.
Yeah, the pillar room that people tend to speed booster through. The room that comes after that is the worst room in the game. The one with the gold pirates and all the shooters on the wall.
Yeah. And in my limited experience with that room, I tend to agree.
Oh, it's bad. It's a room, you actually have some item requirements to get through that room that are very uncommon. Like, you can be denied go mode because you don't have, some combination of high jump or spring ball or space jump or another method of getting through that room just because of the way the little platforms are designed. You can't really wall jump to them without high jump. Or maybe you can, but it's like extremely tight.
I know of a way to use a spring ball jump to get through there. Other than that, yeah, I would definitely want space jump.
Yes, so Cynas skipping left, I think.
Yeah, that is correct. And Lenophis up against Vitreous with 2 hearts. No problem there. Gets the silvers done. A compass in the waterfall chest.
Yeah, so with the route that Cynas has chosen to take here, this is getting even more interesting. I mean, because, you would have expected Ridley into Meyer to confirm go mode, but he hasn't, so, he's going to be doing a lot of unnecessary checks here that we know he doesn't need to be making.
I mean, it's possible that he's not familiar with the lava dive or how to get over there. So maybe he will be looking for that space jump or the flute to sort of put that in logic.
That's entirely plausible. So if you're Cynas and you're watching this VOD and you don't know the lava dive, imagine the time save.
To be fair, I don't remember how to do the lava dive. I've done it like once. But it has been a long time.
What a savings could be had here as far as time. As Cynas picks up his 5th crystal, and he's going back. Oh my! So this indicates to me that he doesn't know the lava dive. Fortunately for him, that space jump is sitting right there.
If he goes to do the dig spot, he should be fairly confident with what he needs to do.
Cynas has been really complete about his Link to the Past routing. I imagine he's going to pick up this shovel spot. as Leno is cleaning up the beach and other Meridia items.
Hey!
It's that time.
Hey, the cape is there in the big chest of swamp. Which means we could go get the powder. Which
It was
is, of
all
course,
worth it.
important.
It all ended up being worth it in the end because of powder. Hey, and if he gets that powder, he'll be in go mode too because it's like space jump.
So the lava dive is not going to be required in logic for the normal mode, period. You can always be assured that you will find some form of gravity suit plus space jump if the game expects you to go through lava dive.
Importantly here, he doesn't actually even need to lava dive. He can use a gravity jump, which is much simpler.
Yeah, you still do have to get a nice little wall jump at the end. It's, to the best of my knowledge, not really possible to just completely jump all the way out, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. You still get a wall jump off the little shooter on the side, but you know it's much easier than having to do the multiple wall jump setup off the left shooters onto the right shooter. Oh, and here we go. Leno has the grapple beam out and is in Meridia, heading right.
Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting a Shack Tool check.
I never thought I'd see it in this seat, but here it is.
Bombs at Shack, like the morph ball bombs at Shack? That would be hilarious. Oh no, did Cynas just find the Quake medallion? This does not look good. The mirror shield.
Just wait till we incorporate
upgrade.
Just wait till we incorporate hints. There's a unique item at Shack Tool.
Shields aren't unique.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But I mean, imagine single arrow.
Oh boy. All right, so just the missile variety pack at the Pyramid Ferry today.
So where is Cynas gonna go now? Probably down. Like if I'm him, I'm probably heading towards the portal.
Well, he's headed south. If there's any chance for him to go get that space jump, it's going to be right about now. Like if he goes over to the digging spot right now. Does not look like it's going to be the case, though.
He thought about it, though. You saw him hover over that shovel.
Or maybe he's checking this island and then he's going to go to the shovel.
Thank you, Cynas. I feel the same way about the spacer.
Good job. Looks like Ice Palace is the play.
Alright, so Leno is just about done with his Meridia sweep here. He's going to check the left sand pit, be heavily disappointed, and then move on. And then the question is, where does he move on to?
I mean, did he just go check Plasma Beam? Because I feel like he might check Plasma Beam.
Yeah, so if Cynas is looking for the space jump in order to complete his go mode, then this ain't going to be it either.
Okay, yeah, he checked the Plasma Beam. That makes sense. So the reason Dragon's not in logic is because this is the normal logic, and basically I think normal logic just basically straight up requires either space jump or normal bombs to beat Dragon.
Yeah, it doesn't. Normal logic will never expect you. It kind of follows the Link to the Past logic in that way, in that, you know, Link to the Past logic never expects you to do glitches, no matter how simple. So, you know, you can do things that are difficult and intended, like the infinite bomb jump, but it will never make you do things that, like, you know, exploit glitches, like building up a short charge or using a grapple beam or a gravity jump in order to get out of a place. So because you have that tall room that the game gives you space jump to get out of in vanilla, you have to have a way to get out of that using an intended strategy.
And the reason infinite bomb jumping is considered intended strat is because you can see it happening in the demo.
Oh, I love me the demo.
It's like
it teaches you how to do everything.
There are just a few random things, like between the games, where you can tell because of one specific thing that it was an intended mechanic, like bonking in Link to the Past, right? There's one specific room where that's the intended strat to get there, and so we allow bonks as part of movement.
Oh wait, no, Leno, here we go.
Leno's going for shaft supers. This is gonna turn this around.
This breaks this race wide open and puts things well back in favor of Leno, because he's got 2 Super Metroid bosses on Cynas. So with the charge beam, we are in 99.9% go mode. Just that one thing that could come up.
I mean, if we want to go with the technical probability, it's more like 95.5. But
you got it. I'll trust you on that.
It's 21 out of 22.
Truth. Dr. Bob, ladies and gents.
22 places that big key can be, and one of them is wrong.
Alright, so Cynas opting to skip the right side, maybe realizing that he could do the lava dive or gravity jump, or deciding that he wants to try it instead of hunting down that space jump.
Did he skip the entire right side or just the iced tea room?
I think he skipped the entire right side.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Gravity and speed plus high jump. That hadn't occurred to me, but yeah, you can. I think you can just sort of do a fast run, like a running jump, and sort of wall jump your way out.
Yeah, that one's news to me. Thank you, Gogotex. I wouldn't have known that. All right, so where's Cynas going?
right. Well, he's headed east. Oh. Oh. He's headed back west. Nope.
Get the shovel. Go dig. Do it.
I mean, he might be doing it. Like, he might be taking his mirror and using it eventually. We'll see. He needs to go to that shovel spot.
I don't know where he's going to the portal.
Oh, he's going to Meridia. Okay. Well, Cynas is going to waste all the time that Lenophis did over there in Meridia.
Yeah, this is getting real bad for Cynas.
I feel like Meridia is, the ice and swamp of Super Metroid. You want to go mode it if you can.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. There are a lot more items there, but it is very similar in that it has a very quick. I mean, it's a little annoying to get here without, just from a hard reset. But way less annoying than actually having to grab all the item locations here.
I did not know that section outside the Meridia portal was speed booster blocks.
Yeah, I think I did it by accident once. I was just not paying attention and just running. I was like, oh man, hey, it worked. To be fair,
right.
until I played Combo Rando, I didn't even know that roly-poly room existed.
Yeah, apparently the only category of the speed run in which it was relevant before was the 100% map completion category.
That's a cool category, to be fair.
All right. So Lenophis taking care of Ice Palace. That's going to leave Swamp and Hera. And after that, it'll be GT and Mother Brain time.
Yeah, so barring boots on Torch, we're going to get a lot clearer picture of Lenophis's completion time here. Usually, if you're trying to just finish both games from entering Ganon's Tower or headed towards Torian, it's about 18 to 20 minutes. With okay execution. Probably much less than that if you're actually really good at the game, unlike me. But yeah, that's kind of the rubric that I use to figure out how much time is going to be left. So Leno's going to complete Swamp about 4 or 5 minutes here, and then he's headed straight up, and then all he has is Hera, and then the end of the game. So I think he's going to easily sub 3 this seed.
All right, Cynas finishing off Dragon, whereas Lenophis heading into Swamp. I'm imagining this will be a pretty quick Swamp.
This race has been so exciting. I'm really glad that I got to commentate this one. It's been so swingy, back and forth.
Yeah, basically I've had little to no clue who was in the lead for the vast majority of this race. It's been pretty great. I mean, I'm not saying that has to do with my lack of knowledge about the game. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, I mean, there's just been a lot of interesting layers. I mean, between the hammer location and the mirror location, and then Cynas apparently not knowing Lava Dive. We're still kind of unsure about that. Definitely an interview question that's going to come up. Like, it's just been back and forth and back and forth.
All right, so Cynas is now going to head east. Probably heading for the plasma beam. Nope, just going to nope out of Meridia.
Cynas putting that spring ball to good use. Good man.
And Lenophis heading up to Argus, not even bothering with the chest down below. This is going to be about as close to a go mode as you might expect.
And so we're not quite there yet. Leno still is going to finish up Swamp. But when he finishes Tower of Hera, we are going to have a real short time for the guessing game.
So I'm going to go ahead and suggest that we start the game when he enters the Troll Dorm room.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. But I just wanted to alert chat that if you're thinking about it, we're not quite there yet, but start thinking about what your guess might be for the big key location.
All right, so Cynas checked the Spike Cave there. Still looking for that space jump or flute. And unfortunately, it does look like he's about to head over to Turtle Rock, which is just going to really nail it down. Well, no, I think he's heading to Upper Norfair here.
All right, so he's headed in the right direction. And he didn't save.
Is he heading back over to Crocomire? Because that's the direction he's headed.
He seems to be refilling his ammo. I don't get this. I don't understand what he's doing. I mean, I guess he could be going to Lower Norfair this way, but this is not the quickest way.
Yeah, I mean,
also there's an energy refill right here.
Energy refill, yeah. All right, so it looks like we're going to get to see Cynas attempting a lava dive.
If he does this easily, this is going to feel real bad. No, I don't think he knows the setup. Well, this is right. This looks good.
Yeah, he's going to do the gravity jump version to get out of here. A little bit of an issue there.
He needs to get a bit of a running start.
I think you actually need to take off Speed Booster.
No, he's got what's looking like a decent setup as long as he can get a really good gravity jump here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Ah, got there.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, he skipped go moding 2 dungeons when he could have done this so long ago. That's definitely something that we'll have to ask him in an interview. Just, you know, I just want to know, you know, what maybe he was nervous about doing that. You know, he didn't seem like super confident in his setup, unlike Leno.
Yeah. And I have to, you know, unless he's gonna do the gate glitch. I guess he's gonna do the gate glitch. I was like, I have to disagree with the move he's gonna make here if he's going straight to Ridley. But yeah, if he's going to gate glitch, that's fine.
Yeah, he's got 45 tries.
Because he needs to know what that medallion for Meyer is.
All right, Leno's closing in on Moldorm here. So as soon as we get into that room, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
All right, so get your guesses in 22 locations where the big key can be in Gen's Tower, 1 through 22. Go ahead and get your guesses in, and we will be taking care of those guesses. First person to guess closest wins. If you are a supporter of the channel, either via a subscription or a 250-bit donation or more, you can be entered in our leaderboard, but feel free to play along either way.
What guess are you going to do, Dr. Bob? I guess we're really close. Oh, I just saw it.
Yeah. So usually I do 14, but almost always somebody picks it before me, so I mixed it up today.
I'm going to go with 3 because I want to see that torch.
All right, so as soon as he enters on our screen, and that's now. Yeah, those medallions are in fact vanilla requirements. All right, moment of truth. Over to the torch. Is it the big key? It is not. It's a small key today, so our runners can in fact breathe a sigh of relief.
Alright, so Go Mode official at 2:33. It was Go Mode quite some time ago, but now it's a real thing.
Almost felt like you were calling time of death there. Alright, so there's the big key in chest number, or location number 5.
Alright, so who called it?
Looks like 06 GTO.
Congratulations to 6 GTO, good guess. And that puts him in a gigantic tie for 1.
All right. Lenophis now in the gauntlet, putting some silver arrows in some mimics, and then gonna head upstairs. Now the gauntlet is particularly unfun, in my opinion, without the boots. There's a lot of practice that gets done on this with boots, and not a lot of practice that gets done without boots.
seems like Leno's done some practice without boots. See, he had a nice setup to trap all those spikes.
Mm-hmm.
So, did we pick up any bottles this run?
Wow. I think you're right.
I mean, we can confirm when he goes to his pause menu next, but I don't think he has any bottles. So, no bottles, no powder equals no safety. Though he has red mail and a bunch of hearts, which is pretty much all the safety you need.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to draw a comparison between the reserve tanks and the bottles.
Yeah, bottles are a bit better, but yeah, no, it's pretty similar. It's you can draw parallels between a lot of items in these games.
My problem is when I try to make the males happen, because, I mean, obviously, like, if you have males and the suits correspond, except that the gravity suit also has to be the flippers. So, now I'm confused.
Yeah, it's an imperfect system, but, you know, it checks out most of the time. All right, so Cynas on his way to Vitreous. He's still got Ridley to finish off after this, so he's got quite a ways to make up. I don't think even a death at Ganon here would do it. You know, maybe, you know, some kind of falls to Moldorm and a death there and having to redo GT, or like a sprite despawn.
Or like a soft lock on the stand-up glitch.
Yeah, that could be. Ooh, ow. Yeah, those lack of boots really hurting in this room.
Yeah, this particular room is one where I really miss the boots. And the torch room here as well.
So Cynas heading back into Lower Norfair through the portal, and he's going to be headed to Ridley, while Leno safely waits out the sprite despawn glitch.
Does look like Leno's going to go ahead and grab some chests up here on the way to Ganon. Meanwhile, Cynas is dealing with Gold Chorizo.
Is there any chance that he finds himself having trouble doing worst room in the game? I mean, with high jump, it shouldn't be hard. I don't think so. I mean, it seems like he knows where he's going now, but that jump can be tricky. Just missiles in the chest after Moldorm, so Leno likely opened his last item location in the game, and he is off to Aga 2.
Oh, I see what Cynas was doing. He was trying to get out of this room without the space jump.
Yeah, I gotta do a Charge of Shine Spark, since he doesn't have access to the IBJ.
And that's why he went to beat up Gold Chorizo, so he'd have room.
I hadn't thought of that either, so.
Alright. Aga 2 being a little bit of a pain in the butt, but still going down. I mean, the sub 3 is still still alive, to the best of my knowledge.
Alright, so Ganon looking like he's going to need a couple of cycles on phase 1. He has to watch his health a little bit here. A couple of bats can make this fight go south really quick.
Alright, a few fireballs dealt with. We get still in phase 2.
I think he's just trying to play it safe so that he doesn't get hit and he doesn't get killed.
Right. Of course, Cynas is having to make his way through the big lava room here with no space jump. Manages to navigate no problem. So we'll be seeing the Ridley fight again soon. But we have gotten to the last hit on phase 3 for Ganon. Setting up the torch glitch.
Almost with the double there. And that's all she wrote for the pig. So, get your single G's in chat. Leno has just finished his first game. He has one more to go. He's going to go finish off Mother Brain, and then that'll be the end of the run. So,
Amphitheater, really? You guys know an amphitheater is supposed to be like acoustic, right?
I think it's the shape, like sitting at the bottom of it. If you like zoom out on the room, it kind of looks like that. There's a couple of rooms in Super Metroid that are named as such. Like the can room.
The cathedral is one of them. All right, so Cynas now heading over to Ridley. He's got 38 supers, 120 normal missiles, and quite a bit of energy. You know, depending on how confident I felt in the fight, I might just go right in.
Yeah, Cynas wasting no time here. He's just going to go and launch all these supers at Ridley.
All right, Lenophis now heading over to good old Mother Brain and Turian. And Cynas,
so Turian execute.
Cynas is sitting in the lava shooting Ridley while he's pogoing. That's pretty great.
Yeah, if you got the health, that's a good pogo setup. Is, you know, he'll keep pogoing there for a while, just like on the left side, but you just can't hit him from the right side by standing on the edge. You just take a little swim, you know.
Some very nice Metroid ice kills here.
Yeah, so Torian execution is actually really critical in these runs. It's the one thing that you know in Super Metroid that you like besides the bosses, you absolutely know you have to do this every single run. So it pays to practice everything in Torian, much like in Link to the Past. It pays to practice GT to, you know, get your time down, because no matter what crystals and pendants are out there, you're always going to have to do GT, right?
Yep, fair enough. All right, so it's time for cutscene with Baby Metroid. And Leno is basically not even bothering. Got himself on 19 health now. That's going to be a pretty quick baby drain here.
Accurately facing to the right. Oh, and he's going to Crystal Flash here to restore his health. If he's got the ammo and charge beam, there's really no reason not to. Save yourself a trip over to the missile room.
I mean, there is that. Especially if you've got the Zeb skip down. And there he goes, directly through the first Zebetite and on to Mother Brain. Time to unload some number of missiles and or super missiles. Now, luckily the charge beam is live here because, unless I'm mistaken, that is not enough missiles. But yeah, the charge beam is dealing 900 damage a pop, so it takes all of 20 hits for this phase. Alright, Lenophis doing the standing up thing.
Yeah, so all he has to be careful for here is going to make sure to be up in the air as soon as that Metroid detaches from Mother Brain. Otherwise, he gets pushed back down into the standing animation, into the kneeling animation. I think he can free himself from that situation with the X-ray scope. These shots aren't doing anything. I think this is just for show. Only when the Metroid detaches and Mother Brain goes full gray does she receive her final health bar.
Alright, so the beam shots here are going to take, I think, 40 of them. 40 of the charge beam shots would deplete the entire health bar. I'm not entirely certain it's possible to get 40 in the time frame, but you'll have the hyper beam after that, so you'll just be like destroying face.
It is actually, and he's getting pretty close. One shot.
Get wrecked.
Very well done. Well executed stand-up glitch from Leno. Alright, so just an escape away. I don't imagine on the pace he's on that we'll have any question about what he's gonna do with the animals. They're gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, in a 1v1 race in a tournament where there's a cash prize on the line and your opponent hasn't finished, you're not wasting time.
I mean, how swag would it be if he did it though?
It would be pretty great.
right, so one Shine Spark and quick travel across the surface, and then Leno is going to be done here.
I mean, it does look like that sub 3 dream is a reality today.
It has to be, unless the planet explodes and he spends 10 minutes saving the animals. Dying with the animals? That's not an option I'd considered before.
There is that. And there we go. Lenophis finishing with an official time of 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 10 seconds.
And unfortunately,
it does look like... Yeah, go ahead.
It appears that Cynas has opted to forfeit the race and not finish this one out. But, GG's to both of them. It was a really entertaining race to watch, and I'm excited to have them in here for interviews.
And we are now joined by the winner of today's race, Lenophis. Congratulations. Well played, sir.
Thank you. Ooh, what a seed.
Yeah, GG, Leno. Congrats on the sub 3.
Thanks. That's my second sub 3 at all during this solo crossover.
Well, you picked a good time for it because Cynos is right on your heels. So
yeah, that's what he was saying. He was just entering Ganon's Tower, or he was in Ganon's Tower when I did my done.
Yep,
yeah,
it was a pretty close race. Your opponent located the mirror a long time ago, and once he found the speed booster, he knew exactly what to do. Whereas you, of course, found the hammer well before your opponent did. And
okay. He must have dove pod really late then, thinking that he needed hammer to finish it, didn't want to double dip it.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what happened. So I picked up the mitts behind Ice Beam there in Norfair, and I was like, and then I found Speed Booster in like Thieves Town, and I was like, wait a second, that means that hammer must have been available. So I spent, I don't know, 40-50 minutes just looking for the hammer, and that totally ruined me. Everything else was pretty on point though.
So Leno actually went to do Aga 1 during this race, and it was fine.
So there was a sequence of events there. When I went to Kraid, I knew he was still out of logic at the time because I picked up my super missiles and gauntlet, and that gauntlet was still out of logic. So picking up the silvers, doing Kraid, doing all that Norfair stuff, that was all out of logic. So I picked up the I forget what I picked up at Ice Beam, and then I picked up the Power Glove at the Wallflower. I figured that was going to be my Titan's mitts. And then eventually, when I went to the wrecked ship, everything just came back into logic. It took me a while to go to wrecked ship.
Yeah, I think one of the more interesting developments in this race too was, even despite your early find of that hammer, I think Cynas, was in go mode or potential go mode before you by about 10 to 12 minutes. And I think that one of the big questions that we had during the race for you, Cynas, was if you knew the Misery Mire medallion was ether, you were in go mode. So what was keeping you away from Lower Norfair?
Well, so a long time I was looking for hammer there. And then right after I found the hammer, I started to, the wheels started turning, and you're right. I was thinking, I've got 2 medallions. There's, a 66% chance that I'm in go mode right now. And I don't know why I did the left half of Swamp when I did. I've just gotten burned by Swamp a lot. But after that, I went ahead and did Ice Palace, and I'm just like trying to clear dungeons and looking for Charge Beam, looking for anything else that's going to make my life easier on the way. Just because I thought I might be able to, I had to do them both eventually anyway, and it was, my thought process was, Swamp Palace, which is right next to Ice Palace, which is right next to the Meridia entrance. I'll just knock those out and then head down. And maybe I'll find Bombos and not have to worry about it on the way.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just, I mean, definitely, this was a really exciting race to watch from beginning to end. And, thank you both for participating in it. But yeah, I would definitely watch it back because there was a lot of interesting play with, Cynas missing the hammer and Leno missing the mirror for some time. And, how that all resolved itself was pretty interesting.
With how much I still had to clear in Link to the Past, I figured Mirror was going to be there, and I was just doing my last 2 checks in Super Metroid. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe it'll be a fetch quest BS stuff, and it turned out to be the mirror at the Betom Speedway. I'm like, oh, thank you. Okay, we're in go mode. Let's just get this over with.
Yeah, it was the Chef Supers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, those are the ones.
So one thing that I don't know if you were looking for this at all, Cynas, or if you were looking for other things, but there was that space jump that would have made your life a little easier that Lenophis found. It was at the dig spot, actually. So right after Pod getting that shovel.
I had high jump boots and spring ball, so I was not really worried about it, and I don't even really think that it affected my play that much at that point. Certainly if I had gotten it before I did Norfair or Wreck Ship, that would have been one thing, but just having, that tiny little bit of Meridia to do and lower Norfair, I only missed the worst room in the game wall jump like once or twice before I nailed it. So I don't really think I missed it too much.
Well, all right then. Well done.
All right, so
I have a question. I believe Gravity was in Lower Norfair, which means Flute was in Logic. Where was that?
Gravity was not in Lower Norfair so much as Crocomire. There's a distinction there.
Oh, that's right. It was that's right. It was Croc. Brain fart there. Always bet on Croc Z.
yeah, no one found the flute. We have no idea where it is. It's probably deep in Ganon's Tower or something. But so Leno, you now advance to 1-1 in this tournament. Cynas unfortunately moving down to 0-2. As far as the remaining stages of this tournament, any matchups you're looking forward to playing against, people you really want to battle, people you want to avoid? Just talk a little bit about future rounds coming up.
Well, I'm not really looking to face anyone specifically. It should be a good match, regardless of who I face. But there's always the potential I faced Zosti in the next round if he wins. If Andy loses, I could face him. Hitaka. I mean, all really good runners. There's a lot of really good runners, regardless of where they stand.
Yeah, I mean, this Combo Rando is a really good community. I've felt a lot of really good competition from pretty much everywhere. I expect a whole ton of good competitive races in this tournament. So definitely looking forward to the next one you do. And you too, Cynas. You put up a really good time, just a little over 3 hours here. I imagine once you finish Mother Brain.
I quit out. That's just me messing around, waiting for the stream to finish up, and going to shoot the animals wall and all that kind of stuff for folks. A little bit of a crowd pleaser since I didn't quite finish, but yeah, I think I would have been right around 310 or so, and that would certainly be my best time ever in a seed. I've never sub-3'd either in-game time or in real time, so this was definitely, I know that I put up my best against Lenophis, and I'm hoping to have a sleeper win or two here the rest of the tournament. But yeah, got pretty well spanked by Aussie in the first round, and just going to be hopefully happy to put 1W on the board before this is over, and that'll be more than enough for me. But just really hoping to continue to improve, and it's always remarkable to see the decisions people make. I learn something different from everybody I race against, and I'm hoping a few other folks will start to take me a little bit seriously, and maybe I'll start to become a more prominent member in the community.
Yeah, I mean, if you continue to play like you played today, you're absolutely going to get a win in this tournament. I guarantee it. So,
I believe you'll get at least one win out of this. I'm counting on two, at least two for you. You played a really good match. Your routing seemed like it was pretty good for a 310 time, especially on a seed like this. This is definitely a good time. I would say you have some wins in the books coming.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for commentating in the morning, folks. I really appreciate it. It helped make things a little bit easier on the schedule, and great to see you, Barnage. I don't know that I've seen you at all in this tournament, but I remember you from the previous 1v1 and didn't see you in the bracket, so I'm happy to see you here.
Yeah, I'm happy to help out. I just kind of waived signups. I just got busy and then missed signups, and it was like, oh, that tournament started that I wanted to be a part of. Oh, I guess I'm doing comms now. So
fair enough.
But yeah, so hopefully we'll see each other around throughout the course of this tournament. But yeah, I think I'm ready to call it a wrap here. What do you think, Dr. Bob?
Yeah, it's about time to wrap this up. I want to thank once again both of our runners, Lenophis and Cynas, for putting on a great show today. I want to thank our tracker, Cassidy Moen, for taking care of all of those wonderful little icons you see on the screen, and of course, my co-commentator, Maximum Barnage. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, runners. Thank you, tracker, and thank you, Speed Gaming, for hosting. The details for the prize pool for this tournament are over on the left. That were just posted to the SMZ3. So if you want to check that out, if that's your jam, go ahead and do that. If you do contribute to the prize pool by betting on some of the matches, it will increase the prize pool for the runners that's available. So benefits to everyone. Definitely check that out if you feel like it.
That is available to residents of certain countries, just for all disclosure's sake here. And Cynas showing off the animals' room here, even though they're not actually there.
How do you know? They might be trapped back there, just waiting for their demise.
So is this just the randomizer, or is it because Bomb Teresa was never defeated?
Actually, if you do Super Metroid first, the proper escape flag isn't set, so the animals won't be in Bomb Teresa's room.
Oh, okay.
They just get to go back to their normal lives and their normal locations.
Didn't finish canon. That makes sense. All right, everybody. So thanks everybody again for watching. And I hope you had a good time, and we will see you all at a later occasion. Bye, everybody.
Take care, all. Have a good one.